Hey, it's Bradley. Welcome back to my channel, Portly Gentleman. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. It's been a while. I'm happy to be back. In today's video, I'm going to review the brand new MaltZilla, well, new to me MaltZilla. I bought this guy with my own money from Homebrewe. So if you guys have watched my videos before, I've had issues with mills. I had the SS Brewtech mill and absolutely couldn't stand it for the money. It was just unacceptable. We're going to start with the good and we'll end with the negative or the downsides of this mill. If that sounds like a good idea, please like and subscribe. Let's jump right into the video. Research it, mash it, boil it, ferment it, drink it, analyze it, share it. Home brewing is good. All right, here's an up-close look at the MaltZilla's body. It's aluminum casing on the motor and a reinforced plastic body, I believe nylon plastic in there. Notice mine has a little bit of damage here in the corner just passing by right now. Here's what you get in the box. The mill and the motor, one piece, and the two pieces that allow you to put on a hopper or a funnel to shoot out the grain. There's the diamond rollers. Another quick look at the diamond rollers and the two stainless steel bolts used to put on those, we'll call them hopper holders, and the adjusting knobs there. So I'm actually going to make my own hopper. I pilfered my wife's stuff in the pantry and found this as a dust mitigation system. I was watching Brian's video and decided that it was something that I definitely had to have in my life. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm cutting it up in an effort to make a little bit of a sleeve I can put over this this exit funnel thing, we'll call it. Just going to secure it with some zip ties and make sure it stays on there tight. This actually really does help control dust. Whatever kind of mill, you guys could use a grain bag. You don't necessarily need to piss off your wife and get some KitchenAid stuff like I did. Just going to pull out the screws real quick. They're kind of fiddly. It's not a big deal though. Just pop them out. And that piece just fits in. It is a pretty snug fit, to be honest. It's nothing too difficult though. And just put the screws back in and reassemble it. And there she is, ready to be installed with my state-of-the-art dust mitigation system. I prepared a base. This is an IKEA table. I think everyone has them. It works for me for all my milling adventures. And just fit it on there and just screw it down. It only mounts on 3 of the corners, not the one with the motor. It seems to be perfectly secure. You can also undermount this the exact same way. I'd imagine you'd want to use some bolts though. I'm fitting on the top for the hopper now. I'm going to bolt that all together, same as the bottom. The mill is actually identical right to left and top to bottom. I don't see much of a difference in it at all. Pretty ingenious design. There it is, all mounted and ready to go. Just a better look at the bearing for the motor and the adjuster on the right. I actually, the adjustment's kind of hard to see. Maybe I'm getting old. So I actually marked mine with some gold paint just so I have an idea for the adjustment point. The 2 knobs here you use to kind of lock it into the corrugations in that plastic where you want to kind of get the gap set where you want it. I definitely recommend leaving them slightly loose when you do it. They don't need to be super tight. This will kind of affect its performance, as we'll get into later on in the video. There's the indications of all the spacing and the milling widths that they have available. You really can't mill in between those. It has to be set on one of those. And there's the blade set at the mill gap I'm currently crushing at. Ready to go, everything. It's a really ingenious design, I think. It has its flaws. This is a hopper. It's just a 5-gallon jug, and I put some Gorilla Tape on it so it seals better. Just push it in and it seals up perfectly. This is a really, actually genius move, I think. This thing holds like at least 20 pounds of malt, which is more than enough. It's a genius solution. I crudely cut a hole in the top of it. It works great. I'm really impressed by this. All right, so I'm going to power mine with a 18-volt lithium battery from like a cordless drill or a cordless skill saw. You could also use the same power supply you use for your Cannula Pro. I'm powering it with an adapter I got off Amazon. It's 3D printed, so you can plug in that battery right in and there's no issue. I'm not wired up with a switch yet, but you easily could. It's super quiet when it's in operation. Obviously there's nothing in it right now. And it works really great. I like it's cordless. I like to crush outside so I don't get dust everywhere in my brewery. Cordless is good. Here we are dumping in some malt. It feeds really well. There's the dust mitigation system in action. Like I said before, it really does work. And there's the Anderson connectors. It feeds, for the most part, with this clear jug super seamlessly. 18 volts, it doesn't crush quite as fast as it does at 24, but it's more than adequate for me. 24 volt power supply for your cannula or cannula pro will work just fine as well. And look at that beautiful Pilsner malt. It's actually really quiet and a pleasure to work around when you're doing other stuff. It just feeds all that malt perfectly, except every now and then it's going to stop on you. And I'll come up a little while and we'll discuss this in detail, what I think its design improvements need to be. But for the most part, I'm really pleased with it, except for a few minor details. It actually kind of vibrates, so everything shakes down into the mill itself. Like I said, a really clever design. I'm quite surprised no one else has done this before. All right, guys, so that's my MaltZilla setup. What do you think? That's how I was planning on using it. The MaltZilla does have a downfall, and I've reached out to Kegland about it. They actually responded to me within about 12 hours, which I think was really cool, honestly. Really great to see such quick response considering they're in Australia. I'm here in California. But they did get back to me very quickly. They basically I'm having issues with the mill stopping. The free spinning roller stops, and it stops crushing completely. It just sits there and kind of free crushes, just idles and doesn't stay. It doesn't do it for long, but it's enough to be kind of irritating. So they basically told me that, you know, I'm crushing too fine. I can tell you that I'm not crushing too fine. I honestly think that's a cop-out. I think if your mill has indication marks that it will crush to a certain fineness, it should be able to do that. Anything else is just a cop-out. I'm not trying to hate. I'm not trying to throw a lot of shade, but that's just my honest opinion. I really think the mill is really a genius design. It's identical both sides, and it's super simple for these guys to manufacture. Really sharp. The fact that you can use the jug or any sort of a bottle for a hopper, I mean, mind blown. That's just awesome. So with it stopping, basically it said you need to start crushing at 2 millimeters. So I'm right now crushing at 1.5. That's what the crush I found looks best to my eye. And actually in my Brew Tools B80 Pro, I actually picked up some efficiency, which was unexpected and I really did like. It does not crush like a regular mill in the sense the grains may look like they're whole, but they're not. They're definitely cracked and they'll come apart. Sparging, everything was a little bit better than my previous mill. I think for the money, I think this thing retails for around, I think I paid $230 or $40 for it. They also sell an optional plastic piece. Now this piece is actually pretty high quality. I think I've got one here. This piece was actually a huge surprise to me. It's only $12, and it's basically in lieu of a piece of wood to mount it on a bucket. You could use this piece, you could put it on a table. I think if you're gonna get it, definitely pick this up. It might help you with mounting. Obviously you can make your own out of wood, but this guy's pre-cut and drilled, and it just makes sense. I'm really impressed by this. It's just plastic, but this is tremendous value, and the guys from Kegland are definitely bringing it. Key makes some cool stuff. I would really love to see what version 2 of this mill looks like. If my experience with the cannular manual canning machine versus the Pro is anything, the Pro is a way better device. Don't even waste your time with the manual. If the Pro's within your budget, just get it. I wouldn't mess with an October seamer. You're still doing it by hand. I could seam 10 gallons of beer, guys, and not have one failure. That's impressive. So sidetracked about canners. Sorry, I'm pretty passionate about that subject as well. So am I going to keep this mill? I honestly don't know. The fact that it stops can be a little frustrating. It does eventually get started. There's some tricks you can do. You can actually take the rollers, the adjustment kind of plastic pipes, and you can kind of loosen them and gently rock them back and forth. It'll start going and it unfreeze that free spinning roller. It's unfortunate that it gets stuck. If you're the kind of person that you can't handle that, this mill is not for you. If you have some patience and you like the idea that you can run it on, you know, a power supply or a battery, which is awesome. A cordless mill I can take outside and crush and not have to worry about. It's genius. It's really, really good. I can't stress that enough, just how good I think that is. I think this is actually a decent revolution for the home brewing space. Yeah, I think it's a revolutionary product. It's Bradley's revolutionary product of 2020, even though we're in 2021. No, all seriousness aside, I like it and I hate it at the same time. Whether I keep it or not, who's to say? Have I found another better mill yet? Who's to say? As you can see, I put a lot of time into this mill and got my stand just the way I want it, adjusted for it, really hoping the best. I think I can look past the fact that it gets stuck sometimes. I think maybe I can try a little bit wider gap on that setting and see what my efficiency does. Like I said, my efficiency was really good. It improved dramatically, and that is the mark of a good mill. I honestly believe that grain crush is king in home brewing. Grain crush, grain crush, grain crush, that's gonna make the biggest difference of anything, whether it's, you know, super quality ingredients, which by the way matter, but other things. I think grain crush is the easiest place to mess up and to really kind of hurt your efficiency and hurt your overall experience with stuck sparges and other issues that may come from that. All right, so there you have it. That's my long, drawn-out opinion of the MaltZilla. I definitely have thoughts. Thank you so much for sticking around and listening to them. Anyone that watches to the end, it means so much to me. If you guys really want to help out, use the affiliate links below for any of the stuff that I've kind of shown today. Share the video anywhere you want. That would really help. Shares are a big deal. And like it. The more people that like this video, the more YouTube shows it, and that helps me. Remember, this has been Bradley. Home brewing is good, and I'll see you real, real soon.